I do have a question for you because obviously we've kind of jumped around
Yeah.
different topics. If you could like summarize and give like five practical things that anyone can do to optimize sleep, like what would those be?
Yeah. Number one, I would say just write down what time you fall asleep and wake up and just reflect on it after the week.
Hmm.
Number two, I would say having a cool temperature. So 65 to 68 degrees is ideal based on the literature for a sleeping temperature. Um, Number three is front load your water intake. So, you want to have the majority of your water intake the first 10 hours of the day and then taper off.
Interesting.
Yeah, because,
I've never heard this.
you don't want to get up in the middle of the night and have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
I do
And-
every night.
Yeah.
Every night, yeah.
And it's not abnormal to go to the bathroom like once or maybe twice, but if you're getting up 3, 4 times. The other thing is a lot of people I talk to about sleep is they have issues and it has nothing to do with sleep. It's everything to do with anxiety and ruminating thoughts and having stress management issues outside of sleep. It's more about stuff in their life, relationships, work, all these different things going on. So when you think about drinking water earlier, every time you wake up, it's almost giving your brain an opportunity to take over with this anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Just don't give it the opportunities to take over, right? Eliminate all possible things you can. Like I said,
Get
control
your
the
phone
controllables.
away from your
Right.
bed. That's me.
Everything,
That's,
yeah.
That's
Everything you
bad.
can do. And so that's a really easy way. So first 10 hours is ideal and then taper it off. You don't want to have a dry mouth at dinner, but
Yeah.
So let me ask you this because I sauna in the morning to force myself to hydrate before going in and to kind of jumpstart. Is that bad to kind of dehydrate yourself by getting in the sauna in the morning?
in the morning, no, I think that's even better because you can. Well, I do like the sauna at night for the sleep purposes, but if you're gonna be dehydrated, much better then because you can still front load your water.
It's
you
still
know.
early enough in the day.
And that's a problem honestly I have. So like sometimes I'll have people come over at night to do sauna, and you have to drink a ton of water in there.
Yeah.
And then like I'm getting up going to the bathroom, which is not ideal, but again, you have to like pick and choose your battles. It's worth it from a social perspective.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So what were we at number
It was
3?
3, on 4.
4 at the blackout, right? So sleep mask or blackout shades is ideal. I
Do you guys sell blackout shades?
no, we're working on something,
Sick.
but it's unique. It's not out there yet.
I'm
So
excited.
It could be cool,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
don't want to drop it yet, but blackout shades. And then number 5, I would say I would be mindful of substances, right? Like a lot of people, caffeine is a huge issue for people, and just understanding how long it stays in your system and how long it takes to metabolize. Like
Yeah.
some examples, right? So caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours. So like your typical American, let's say they have 3 cups of coffee, right? So 100 milligrams of caffeine, a cup of coffee, and that's a small cup of coffee
So that's 300 in a day.
in a day. So let's say they have a cup at 7, right? And then they have a cup at 11, and then they have a cup at 1, right? So when that starts metabolizing, it takes 5 to 6 hours to get half of it out of your system. So that cup at 7, it starts to dip back down. It juices up to 100 milligrams, start to come back down, but not fast enough. So after those 3 cups, you had 300 milligrams total, but you still have about 220 milligrams of caffeine in your system at 3 p.m. from those cups compounding. Fast forward to 11 p.m., you have about 80 milligrams of caffeine in your system still. At 11
Even
p.m.,
after 8 hours.
which is the same amount as a Red Bull.
Wow.
And that's only 300
Wow.
milligrams of caffeine. So I think being mindful of like front loading your caffeine intake, because caffeine can be amazing.
Yeah.
Just understanding when it stays in your
breaks
system.
through the blood-brain barrier,
Yeah,
gives you
all
the
that
energy
stuff.
kick.
What
yeah.
else is weird though is nicotine. When you have nicotine combined with it, it almost cuts the half-life in half. Yeah. So when you have nicotine combined with caffeine, the half-life of caffeine I think reduces like 75%.
Really?
Right. So I'm not saying to combine them, but it's just being mindful.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If you combine caffeine with alcohol, the half-life of caffeine goes to like 10 to 12 hours. So if you have like an espresso martini, that caffeine is hanging on.
So vodka Red Bull would be rough.
So that goes...
RBV, baby.
You're drinking a vodka Red Bull, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You're looking to like stay sped up and slow down
Yeah.
at the same time.
And then
yeah.
you'll get the blackout eventually.
Yeah. So you do espresso martinis, that's going to have a bad impact. A lot of times if you're at a nice place, you can ask for decaf, but I'm pretty sure they just lie.
Yeah, you're right. They don't want
Like
to go
it's
through the
4 a.m.
trouble.
Yeah, alcohol's brutal for your sleep.
I was literally about to ask. I just saw someone was talking about alcohol and the impact on sleep. I believe they were talking about the autonomic nervous system being impacted by it. I
Yeah.
mean, what does alcohol do to your sleep?
Yeah, I mean, essentially what it does is alcohol prevents your body from getting in REM sleep, especially earlier in the night, right? So you have pretty much 2 halves of the night. You have majority of your REM sleep in the second half of the night, and most of your lighter stages of sleep the first half. So the lighter stages are like your physical regeneration sleep, right? That's where your muscle tissue repairs more. The REM sleep is like your emotional regulation sleep, memory consolidation, motivation, all these things come from that area. So what happens is when you have alcohol, it delays the REM sleep the first half of the night for about 5 to 6 hours, because the way it's processed in the body, it doesn't allow you to get into the deeper sleep, the deeper REM sleep. And then the second half of the night, you go into these crazy deep REM cycles because you've deprived your brain of REM sleep the first half of the night. So people wake up and they're like, oh, I slept like a rock. Well, it's like, yeah, because you starved your brain of REM sleep the first half and it's trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going on. And so I think what people have to do is they have to think of sleep kind of like an orchestra, where each stage is like a different instrument, right? And there's not one instrument that's more important than the other, right? The trumpet isn't more important than the violin. They're different, but equally important. So when you have these lighter stages of sleep and REM sleep, you have to make sure you're getting all these different stages. It's not just about how much time you're sleeping. It's about making sure you're getting the optimal amounts of each sleep, just like an orchestra. And you're kind of like the composer, right? You got to set up the night, set up the performance for optimal function, and then kind of let it rip when you get out there.
Yeah.